Merlin stands for Minority Ethnic Role Models for Learning and Inspiration. It's a business in the community programme. Business in the community has more than 850 companies in its membership. It works to promote responsible business practice. Merlin's aim is to inspire and raise aspirations of Black, Asian and minority ethnic young people by introducing adults of similar ethnic background who would serve as role models and inspirational examples.
I've met with great successful people who have helped motivate me. For example, I was once told the sky isn't the limit. Past sky is space and space goes on forever. And that you can achieve anything as long as you work hard.
In this DVD, we will meet 3 male role models. Aaqil Ahmed is one of the most powerful Muslim executives working in the British media. Born and brought up in Lancashire, he now works for Channel 4 TV as a commissioning editor for religious and multicultural programmes.
On a personal level, you know, being a Muslim in the media actually can be very positive. You know, I've been very fortunate to be involved in some of the most instrumental, I suppose, programmes about Islam in the media from a positive light, and it's been quite a big journey. From the mid-early 90s, I did the first ever film about the investigation into halal meat, which changed how the halal meat industry in Britain works. I was in charge of a big season on Islam for the BBC, you know, which was everything from the first documentary on the Hajj through to, you know, a home front special on Islamic art and design.
A career in TV is not what Aaqil set out to achieve. At school, what he really wanted to do was draw.
I used to draw record sleeves, I used to draw football players, I used to draw pop stars, and that's all I wanted to do. And when I was around about 14, it was explained to me what a graphic designer was, somebody who designs, you know, CD covers and magazines and books, and that's what I wanted to be.
A career in the arts is not what many Asian families would have wanted for their kids. How did Aaqil's family react to his ambition?
Interestingly enough, my dad was quite supportive. All he said to me was, "You better not fail." So because he'd put that kind of faith in me, and you know, you have to imagine this is 1985 I'm talking about now. So when I went for my interviews at art school, you know, one of the art colleges I went to be interviewed at, you know, the first question they asked was, "Why do you want to be a graphic designer? There are no Asian graphic designers." You know, which is a good thing to say, funnily enough, at that time, not the kind of thing you could say now.
Although he joined art school to study graphic design, Aaqil developed an interest in photography and film. He joined the BBC as a researcher and rapidly rose up the career ladder.
You know, I'm the son of a market trader from Bolton. You know, I'm not somebody whose family have worked in the media. I'm not somebody who's got a degree from Oxbridge. I'm a guy with an arts-based degree, you know, and so in effect everything that I've achieved actually seems wrong. So it is all possible, and the more Muslims that get involved in the mainstream of industry, whatever that may be, it's incredibly important. If we don't do it, we'll be left behind. And one of the key things that I don't want my own children and anybody's children to do is to be left behind.
So having risen to the top of his profession, has his ethnic or religious background been a barrier in his career?
In terms of being able to impact on people's lives, I think, you know, when I stop working in television, I can be really proud of what I've done. So to be a Muslim in the media doesn't have to be negative. I think that's a big positive. You know, it's not been the only part of my job, but it's one part of my job that I'm incredibly proud of.
Diesel is a well-known fashion brand. The man responsible for its marketing and advertising is Scott Morrison. Brought up in Preston, Lancashire, he won a scholarship to a private school.
My mum always used to say to me, "You're going to have to work harder than a lot of the people in your class," which was a good motto for me to live by, because, you know, I did work harder. You know, I've worked hard all my life, and it's probably an ethic that stuck with me, you know, from being a child.
It was at school that Scott developed his passion for advertising.
I grew up when the big adverts were on TV, you know, 60-second adverts, And TV was the only place that you could see them. You know, you couldn't see them on YouTube or the internet. So it was a really big thing. And you know, you'd get 10 million people watching a TV advert when it was launched on one evening. So for me, those kind of big events in advertising kind of shaped the way that I thought about advertising. And I kind of saw it as quite a glamorous, creative industry.
Scott went to university and continued his interest in advertising. He got a job in one of the largest advertising firms in the country. He became the head of marketing at Diesel 4 years ago. Has it been an easy journey?
My motto is actually embrace failure, because through failure you learn how to succeed. For me, you know, there are lots of successes that I'm very proud of, but I also am quite open when people talk to me. I'm quite open to talk about my failures as well. I also celebrate the successes that I've had in my career, and I'm also very keen to celebrate the success of people I work with and people around me, because it's very, very important.
A decision made in his teens has led Scott to the success he has now.
Life is very difficult. When I was 14, you know, my mum worked 7 jobs so that we could have food on the table, and you know, things were difficult for her and for us growing up. And I think it's all about choices. You know, at that stage, you make a choice. You can see an easy option and you can go, well, I can do this and it's very easy for me to make some money, but I'm going to do something wrong to do it. Or you make a choice and say, actually, I'm thinking about the long term and where my life is going to be in 40, 50 years' time. You know, I want to do something successful. I want to do something that gives back to my community. I want to be something that, or somebody that people look up to, and a role model for other people who are in my situation.
As a young child, Kevin Fong dreamt of being an astronaut. His parents sparked off an interest that has stuck with him all his life.
Almost the first thing I remember is my parents waking me up, you know, when I was about 5 years old, I guess I must have been, to watch in the middle of the night this sort of black and white television picture of a Russian space crew and an American space crew docking in space. I would very much have liked to have been an astronaut. I think that that's what really drove me to study science.
Now he works as a medical doctor and teaches at University College London.
My particular area of interest is what it takes to look after people involved in space exploration, so astronauts, cosmonauts, going on long-duration missions. Some of my very good friends are astronauts. Indeed, you know, one of my friends flew over Christmas last year, phoned me from the space station, which was quite nice.
Kevin's family, though originally Chinese, came over from Mauritius. His father educated himself here while working and bringing up a family.
I think he did his O-levels by correspondence courses, and then did a higher national diploma, or the equivalent at the time, and then found himself a place at Trent Park Polytechnic. I was 1 when he was doing that degree, and so, you know, when he wasn't looking after me and studying for exams, he was working on the building sites, and he used to, a couple of evenings a week, peel potatoes at a friend's fish and chip shop. So, you know, I don't think it was as straightforward for him to get his higher qualifications, but he respected it, and I think wanted to show that education is important.
Kevin grew up in Harrow and Willesden, North London, and went to state schools there. His interest in science led him to study physics and maths. His teachers were supportive, as was his peer group.
You want to believe that it was you that was propelling yourself forward, but truthfully it must have been the influences of people around you, you know, and mostly my parents, because you know, they were the dominant influence, that they and you know, your school teachers and your peer group. And I was very lucky to be at school with some friends who are also similarly interested in science and mathematics.
He went on to study those subjects at university. Does he feel that his career has been carefully planned and well constructed?
I think that if you look at my career track, you know, I now work with the British National Space Centre and NASA, and we talk about human space exploration, and that's because of my background in medicine and astrophysics. It all looks like a very finely crafted career, but it was anything but that.
Kevin's passion for science, combined with hard work, is what has led him to his success.
I feel very lucky because I feel like by accident I chose the right things to do, and you know, I was fortunate to make good life choices. I mean, I worked very hard. You know, I think if you work hard, you you end up, on the whole, being luckier.
As Scott said, my motto is to embrace failure, because through failure you learn how to succeed. It may not have been easy, but all these people stuck to their plans and in the end got further than they could have imagined. Is there any reason why you should not do the same? If you're from a school or a business and would like to find out how to be involved in or volunteer for the Merlin project, please contact us. Merlin is funded by the London councils.